Hi everyone, I hope you guys are doing okay. So today I'm going to be explaining about the concept of forwardRefs and why do we use it. It's really important to understand the concept behind the forwardRefs because it could be really useful. So today, with the help of an example, I will teach that. So firstly, what is forwardRef? ForwardRef is basically used to pass the refs from parent component to child component. Now we already know refs and why do we use it. So basically, when we have to pass down a reference from parent component to child component, so we do it with forwardRefs. So we cannot just pass directly the refs as props. We cannot do that, so we have to take the help of forwardRefs. So right now I will explain that with the help of the small project. So basically what I have in here is very basic input. This is my input, but this input is not directly here in the parent component. If you see, this input has its separate component file, which is this, and inside this there is nothing, just a very basic simple HTML input. Now if I want to have a reference to this input in order to have some of the functionalities to be performed on it, so what I need to do is I need to pass a reference down to this input component. Okay, so what I will be doing, firstly I will create a reference. So let's say input ref. I need to import useRef from React. Okay, and now what I need to do is pass reference just as we pass props, like that, input ref, like this. So this is very simple, this is very basic. We need to make sure that we pass this as a prop named as ref only, not anything else. Okay, now we have passed it down simply, how we pass props down to this component, child component, which is this input. If we go inside this component, then what we need to do, firstly we need to import the forwardRef. So we will import the forwardRef like this from React. Now what we need to do, we just need to wrap this component with forwardRef from where it begins to where it ends. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna write the forwardRef like this and close it here. Okay, this is very simple. Now this is where we extract all of our props, but now we have to extract the reference as the second argument of this function. So the second argument we'll get is the reference from the parent component. Okay, now we can pass down this reference directly to this child input as reference equals to reference. Alright, now let me refresh that. Now this reference is actually created in the parent component here, but is passed down to the child component, which is this input, and used here with the help of forwardRef and directly inside this input reference equal to reference. Now we have a direct reference to this input. Alright, now as you can see that I have created these 4 buttons in order to perform some kind of action in that input, just using this reference. Alright, so that would be really easy. Okay, so with the help of this reference we will be able to perform all of these actions on this input. So firstly let's start with focus. So the intent is that when I click on this focus button, the input should focus itself. Okay, so I am going to start with creating the function for focus. So I will create a new function here named focus, and what it needs to do is take this reference and access the current property inside it and just focus it. So this is very simple. Now I can just pass this focus function as on click of this focus button. Okay, like this. 1 second, and let me save it. Okay, so this is very simple function. I'm just trying to focus that input with the help of the reference. Now if I click on it, you can see that this input is focused. Alright, now let's say we have a second functionality that on click of a button we need to fill something inside the input. That is also like something which is very easy. So I will create another method, something like fill, and what it's gonna do is gonna take the reference, take the current property inside it, take the value inside it and set it to something like a filled value. Alright, so now I can just directly pass this on click inside the fill button, and I have to pass it as fill. Alright, now let me save it, and now if I click on fill, you can see that it has filled that value inside the input using the reference. Alright, the next button is clear button. Now the functionality of clear button is clear, that on click of it we need to clear the value which is already entered in the input. So I will name the function as clear, and what it needs to do is take the input reference, access the current property, and make its value to like empty string. Alright, when I save it, click on clear. Alright, something is wrong. Okay, I haven't passed it as the click property. Let me save it. Now when I click on clear, you can see that the value is cleared. Alright, and the last one is blur, which means that when the input is focused, I need to blur the input again. So I'm gonna take the reference, take the current property inside it, and call the blur method on it. Alright, now again I need to pass it as the on click on the blur button, and this needs to be blur. Okay, now I think all the 4 buttons functionalities are working on point. So like I can focus, I can blur, I can fill it up, and I can clear the value. So all of these functionalities are working even when the reference is there in the child component, just because of the forward reference. So this is the way, and this is like very typical example of why and how we would need and use a forwardRef. I think it not just this is a very simple example, but we can use it in a lot of other variety of problems. Like we can have a child video component, and we can use this forwardRef to play and pause the video or audio. We can have like a scroll component, and we can use the forwardRef to scroll to a particular point, and then whatever we want to do with the scrolling functionality. So there could be a lot of other examples as well. So I hope you understood clearly what I was trying to explain. Thank you so much, and I will see you in next video. Alright.